Hey everyone, today we're looking at the relationship in Latin between the accusative case and time. This is from the Vulgate course by William Dodds. This is number 110. In Latin, when you talk about how long something is taking place, that how long goes into the accusative case. Let's take a look. Here we have, he stayed there 2 days. He is the subject of the pronoun. What is he doing? He stayed. He stayed is the verb. Where did he stay? There, that's an adverb. It answers an adverbial question. Where and how long did he stay there? He stayed there 2 days. That's an adverbial phrase. Also answers an adverbial question. How long something took place, or what was the duration of something. He stayed there 2 days. Now in Latin, he stayed becomes mansit. He stayed. He stayed where? He stayed there. Ibi. Mansit ibi. And how long did he stay there? Remember I told you that this phrase here, because it's answering the question how long, it's going into the accusative case. So, mansit ibi duos dies. Dies is in the accusative, that's plural. Obviously it's plural because we're talking about more than 1 day. And duos is in the accusative as well, and it's plural also because it's 2 and because it's describing the word dies. Another example, if he stayed there 10 years, mansit ibi decim. Fortunately, decim doesn't change. A lot of numbers do not inflect, which means their endings don't change. It's wonderful. We love those numbers. Mansit ibi decim dies. Now, he obviously can't stay there for 200 years, but what if something else stayed there for 200 years? So we could say a building. The building stayed there for 200 years, and we don't have to change our verb for that. Mansit will work with the verb too, or with the building too. Mansit ibi, 200 years. He stayed there 200 years. Mansit ibi ducentos anos. He stayed there 200 years. Anos is in the accusative. It's plural. And ducentos, which is describing anos, is also accusative plural. Speaking of staying somewhere 200 years, a house could stay in one location 200 years, a person cannot. And mansit is the verb from which we get the English word mansion, which literally means to remain in a location, which is what mansions tend to do. I don't see mansions moving around very much. I live across the street from one that has actually been there for 200 years. I don't live in that mansion, although I'd love to. But I don't. Oh well, maybe someday. Alright, another phrase that you would use the accusative for in Latin when talking about duration of time would be a phrase like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 100 years ago. With this one, you would use the word ab hinc. Ab hinc quinque annos. And you still use the accusative. So, ab hinc quinque annos. I'm trying to get an I in there. Oh well. Pretend there's an I between the U and the N there, okay? Ab hinc quinque annos. Right? He stayed there, or I'm sorry, not he stayed there 5 years, but 5 years ago. Ab hinc quinque annos. 10 years ago. Ab hinc decim annos. That's the only change, is the number. 100 years ago. Ab hinc centum annos. See that? When you're dealing with time in Latin, if you're talking about how long something took place, he stayed there 5 days, he lived there 5 years, he lived there 5 months. When you're talking about how long something took place, that phrase, those numbers go into the accusative case. When you're using phrases like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the years, the time, also goes into the accusative case. And by the way, if it was 200 years ago, some numbers do decline, right? So if it was 200 years ago, we would use this ending here, os, ducentos, 200 years ago. So there it is. So we have the accusative. The only reason these guys don't change, quinque, decim, and centum, is because these numbers don't change. Their endings don't change. Although centum may. I need to check on that. It could be centos. Anyway, these numbers here, quinque and decim, certainly don't. I'll check on the other ones. Alright guys, there you go. If you like Latin and you want to learn more, definitely by all means subscribe to this channel. Check out DwaneThomas.com. I blog about words, Latin, Greek, Harry Potter, all kinds of crazy stuff over there all the time. Anything that has to do with Latin and in languages. And as you know, that's just about everything in the world. So, I'll see you over there. Take care, my friends.